What's going on, Canfield Nation? Welcome back. Coca's Pizza, our final week. State champions here with head coach Mike Pavlansky. Coach, when you hear that, state champions, is that really set in yet?
Yeah, I don't know if it's set in yet or not. It's been a whirlwind since Friday afternoon, Rich. It really has. But, I'm just so happy for our kids. The time and effort them and our assistant coaches put in. Really happy for our school and especially proud of our community. The way they showed out last Friday, they certainly deserve to enjoy this.
Yeah, we were talking about it before we hopped on. The most attended game since 2019 in the Ohio High School Football State Championship. There was over 7,000 there. I think over 5,000 of them were from Canfield.
No doubt. I don't know who was the last one out of town, but they turned out the lights and showed up Canfield, for the 3-hour ball game. And, just a great testament to the support this community has always given the Canfield schools and certainly our football program.
We've had an opportunity every single week to interview all 28 seniors that you have on the roster. For this special group, what does it mean to have those guys in the state championship?
There are just so many thoughts. But the dominant thought I have right now is that what a great life lesson that it's always better to be part of the group than not to be part of the group. 28 seniors and not all of them played, and some played sparingly and wanted to play more. But for the betterment of the group and to achieve the goals that they set before themselves, that's what happened, and they accepted their roles and stayed part of the group, and now they can start to call themselves state champions.
22 years as the head coach at Canfield. Have you ever had an ice pad like you did at the end of the game? I know Vince Lewis, AJ Murphy picked that thing up and they poured the ice on you. Have you ever had one of those before?
Yeah, I've had a few of them during my tenure. None as sweet as that. But they need to work on their technique. Because, before the water got to me, the top of the cooler hit my head. I think I got checked out by the trainer to make sure I was okay to go on. But it was nice. It really was. And, just a special moment there at the end. One that everybody works for, our kids, our coaches, and to be able to celebrate with family and friends on the field afterwards is something you'll never forget.
First person to hug you I saw was your brother, Pat, before he went out there to get the handshakes. And then, of course, your mom surprised you on the field after the game. So to have the Pavlansky name, which is so prevalent around the valley, and have their support on the sidelines and on the field after the game, that had to mean the world to you after you won.
No doubt. You don't do it alone. That's for sure. I've had great support from my family and my daughters and, my brothers and sisters. They were able to be there. And even Beth Ann, who lives in Arizona, she live streamed it. My brother Dave was giving a coaching clinic in track down in Florida. Him and his wife live streamed it. To have my mom and sister Sue and her family and my brother Pat, obviously my brother Tom, and, to celebrate with them immediately afterwards, certainly meant a lot.
I want to go back to the start of the season, even in the offseason, when we talked about it in week one. There weren't a lot of returning starters on the defensive side of the ball for your football team. There's been a lot of growth throughout the season. At the beginning of the season, did you think that your team was going to be able to get to the point?
You never look too far down the road. I thought we had the makings of a good football team. I didn't know how good. But everything we always talk to our kids about is this: let's make sure we get better every day. If you get better every day, then on a Friday night, you're going to have a chance to win a ball game in the fourth quarter. That's all you can ever ask for. And, we had chances in 15 ball games to win. We won 14 of them. And the one that we lost, we learned a whole heck of a lot about ourselves. And, you don't start thinking about, how special you can be, until you get down the road and you get past the Ursuline, you get past the Charlotte, you get past the Holy Name, and now you're staring down, the last game of the year. And, the thing we told our kids that week was, hey, it's a football game. Enjoy everything that leads up to it, the build-up, the excitement of the school, the community. Enjoy all that. The send-off was absolutely tremendous. I think we had probably about 1,000 people for our send-off Friday morning at 10:30. And, enjoy all that. But at 3:07 Friday afternoon, it became a football game. And if you play your best football, you can live with the outcome. And we certainly played our best football.
This year truly was a well-deserved year for your football team. You look at the rocky road you had to go through throughout the regular season with some guys getting hurt and the stiff competition that you play from week 1 all the way up to the state championship. You start off with a team that gets to the regional final in West Branch. Dover's no joke. Cheney beat you. They're an incredible football team with 2 first-team All-State players this year. Chardon, Ursul, you could go down the list. There wasn't an easy game on this schedule for you guys this year.
Not at all, and never is. When you look at historically what we've done schedule-wise, 2017 we finished first in our region. 2018 we finished first. 19 we didn't make the playoffs. 20 we finished second. 21 we finished fourth. This year we finished second. Our schedule's demanding, for a Division III school, and our kids take on the challenge. It prepares them to be better the next week, and we're not a one-man show. Guys get hurt. Guys need to come out, be subbed out, and we got guys ready to fill in.
Definitely not a one-man show because 7 of your football players got on a first, second, third, or honorable mention list this morning and this afternoon as an All-Ohio first or second, third, whatever it may be, selection. So, everybody looks at Brock Lowry, Indiana commit, but he wouldn't be able to have the success without the guys, around him.
Absolutely, and Brock deserves everything that comes his way. He's certainly, I'm going to be biased here, he's the finest student athlete ever to come out of Canfield. I don't think it's even close. And we're talking about some really, really good kids that I've been fortunate to coach, let alone the guys before us. And guys that went on to the Penn States, went on to Virginia, went on to Louisville to play college football. Brock is not going to take a backseat to anybody, but he'll be the first one to tell you, without his line, without the receivers, without the backs, without all of his teammates, he's not going to have the success that he enjoyed. One
of those linemen, A.J. Murphy, who's a first-team All-Ohio offensive lineman as a tackle, he laid some big hits in that championship game against Bloom Carroll. A guy that kind of stepped up as a leader for your team up front. Talk about how happy you are for him. He was a second-team All-District last year in the conference, and now he goes from that and the progress he's made to his senior season, winning a first-team All-Ohio selection.
Yeah, he's he's the typical kid that you put the work in, good things are going to happen. And AJ's done that for 3 years. We knew as a sophomore he's going to have size. He's got really good feet for a young man his size, and great strength, great competitiveness. The thing that sets AJ apart is his mental part of his game. He understands offensive line play and what we're trying to accomplish on certain schemes. And for him to be a first-team All-State kid, we're just so tickled for him. Some college out there is going to get a great young man for the next 4 years on and off the field. We can go down the line. There's some young men on my offensive line that haven't got the recognition they deserve. Don Beaton and Evan Parker, 2-year starters for us. Jimmy Sherritt, 2-year starter. Seniors going out, with the state championship. But, you don't win without offensive and defensive line play.
To have some of your juniors play an entire season that you could possibly play in high school football, getting all the way up to the championship game. You had some big ones. Scotty Eaton, Paul Bendis made a great play in the championship. Danny Inglis has stepped up all season long. How much does that teach this junior and sophomore classes? Because they're getting a ton of experience, and a lot of players around the state of Ohio really aren't getting it.
No doubt. You guys, you mentioned the starters and really key components of our team this year. What's really is going to be beneficial for us is that the last 6 weeks of practice where people didn't get that we're going to play next year, our offensive and defensive scout teams, sophomores and juniors that didn't get varsity playing time, they really improved. And that's something our coaches talked about 4 weeks ago. So we're seeing a difference right now in practice against our varsity. These guys are doing a great job portraying the opponents we're going to have, but just being competitive in practice, not just going through the motions, being competitive. And that excites us for next year.
Yeah, I was going to say, because when you look at a lot of teams in week 1, 2, 3 next year, they're going to look at this Canfield football team and be saying, oh, they lost 28 seniors, they lost their state championship team. But these guys are valuable next year, especially in the early part of the season, because they're going to be so much more advanced than a lot of sophomores and juniors from the previous season.
There's no doubt in the fact that we were going great senior class. We're losing some great pieces to our football team. We're got a lot of work to do when we get back at it in January, but we're hoping that those 6 weeks obviously pay dividends.
All right, let's recap the Bloom Carroll football game a little bit. State championship. Let's start off with the venue there at Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium. What a perfect place to play the high school football state championship.
Tremendous place. You know, and I'll be the first one to admit, I was on the side of having two different sites. You know, Paul Brown Madison Stadium and then the Hall of Fame Stadium. I'm completely on the opposite side now. It deserves to be played at one venue, the Hall of Fame, forever.
Yeah.
The association, the High School Athletic Association, did a tremendous job treating our kids and our fans to a first-class experience, and the game should never be moved from the Hall of Fame Stadium.
Before the game, one thing that stuck out to me, and I don't know if a lot of people realize it or even got to see it, at the end of that South Range game, your team had the opportunity to go out there. They were all lined up in the end zone, and they were cheering on South Range as they finished off their state championship. Congratulations to Coach Yeagley and his entire staff and the players over there at South Range. Did that kind of set the table for you guys, knowing, okay, you know what, they started it, let's finish it?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. You have to ask those guys, but the one thing, the backstory to that is that at 1:25, we started our pregame position meetings. Our guys were dressed in shells and ready to go. And after our defensive meetings, I grabbed our captains. I said, listen, we can continue on with the pregame and stay within our routine, or we can go out and watch the last couple minutes of South Range. And right away, they said, Coach, let's go outside. Let's congratulate those guys and watch the last couple minutes of that ball game. And then we can come in and modify our pregame, position meetings and routine. And said, absolutely. So that comes from our kids. And that just talks to the quality of young men that they are to be able to make that decision on a split-second notice and not worry about us. Let's go celebrate neighboring school right down at 46 and them winning their first title ever.
And you got to win your first title ever. And that game against Bloom Carroll, we previewed it last week here on YSN, talked about the size up front that Bloom Carroll presented. They had a line that averaged 289 pounds. And then, in some formations and sets, they had 6-7 guys on the offensive line. Well, that did not seem to phase this defense. Coming out on that opening possession, they got a couple first downs, but to kind of hold them in their tracks a little bit and show Bloom Carroll that they're not going to get the 7-8 yards of crack that they're used to, I think that set the tone for the entire football game there at the beginning.
I think you're right. We always talk about starting fast, and we certainly did that offensively by scoring on the first drive, and defensively, after a first down and 2, settling in. We knew one thing from a coaching standpoint. If we weren't faster than Bloom Carroll, we were going to be in a lot of trouble from Friday afternoon, a lot of trouble. And early on, we found out we were faster, and that really turned into a great afternoon for us.
Does that go into using a lot of those stretch plays, outside zones?
Absolutely.
We saw a lot of flat sweeps from Danny and Scotty Eaton as well. So, when you see that opening drive like that, does that then change the playbook at all, knowing, okay, we're going to try and speed them to the outside?
No doubt. That was a game plan from the beginning, and then trying to hit them in the middle, at particular times, down distance, how much time's left in a quarter or a half. It was going to be able to open up our play action pass game, with Brock. And then we converted, I think, 9 out of 12 third downs, which is unbelievable in any game, let alone a state championship game. And, once we got going with our outside game, we felt we could, run the ball between the tackles. And in the fourth quarter, we were able to do that.
You had a comfortable lead, 14-0 in the final 3 minutes of that first half. And, Bloom Carroll, I think, puts together a game-saving drive there, coming down the field and scoring on that crossing pattern over the middle. There were a couple plays throughout that drive where you're maybe a step behind, maybe one step closer, and you knock down the quarterback for a sack. But, when they scored, make it 14-7, this is a completely different ballgame. What are some of the things that you told your team during the halftime?
We knew they were going to go away. It's a championship game. They deserve to be there. That's a tremendous program, a tremendous team. And, we talked at halftime a lot about, adversity. In any ball game, you're going to face adversity, how you handle it. In a championship game, you're going to face adversity. And, we challenged our guys to go out and start fast in the third quarter. And defensively, they got that turnover for us, and we were able to go down and score. It just speaks to the character of, our guys this year, the mental toughness of, okay, They scored at the end of the half, got back into the ball game, had all the momentum in the world, and our guys went out there and retook the momentum, and we were off and running after that turnover in the third quarter.
Yeah, played an excellent third quarter. And then, one thing that stuck out in the ball game, and everybody from Canfield is going to remember this for a long time, to start that fourth quarter, Mike Ackerson talked to you after the game, and I think he used the word vanilla. You're very vanilla. And then we come out of the fourth quarter, there's a little trickery there with, the jet sweep to Bendis. He throws it back to Brock, and then he takes off 69 yards to the house. That wasn't a play that you really showed on film the entire season. So is that something you worked on?
Oh, yeah. We always have a trick play Thursday.
Okay.
We're all on trick plays. We've got a multitude of trick plays. Our guys enjoy running them Thursday in practice.
Yeah.
That one there, you don't call it because you want to call it trick play. You call it because you really believe it's going to work. At the end of the third quarter, we were able to start getting the outside zone play going, stretch play with Danny and Scotty. And, we just noticed on the backside, they may have been chasing a little too fast. And now you've got to change a quarter instead of a 1 minute timeout. Like you have in the regular season, this was a TV timeout, you had 2 minutes. So there was a lot of thought going into it. And we grabbed Paul and said, listen, just make it look like outside zone. And it's a first down play. It was 1st and 10 from our 32. And then, you turn. If you don't see Brock, don't throw it. Just run the ball. We'll live in second or whatever. Okay, we don't want to give them momentum to get back into the game at 21-14. And Paul, executed the play extremely well. Threw it back to Brock. And I think Evan Parker was out there, got a key block. Jack Davis got a key block down the field. Vince Luce was down the field with a key block. And then, once Brock gets a lane, people aren't going to catch him.
No, they're not. He went down the sideline, 69 yards, took it to the house. Kind of put the nail in the coffin there in the start of the fourth quarter.
It certainly felt good when he scored. There's no doubt that you had some breathing room. We certainly knew it wasn't over because, again, it's a championship college football team. And, once Caden Cahoot got that interception, throwing a tremendous play, those guys executed defensively on the stunt that Caden was on. And he looped outside, and he knows outside I've got contained. If you come around the corner, the first thing you got to eye up is the quarterback. Where's the quarterback at? And make sure he's always inside of you. Well, he turned the corner and looked at the quarterback, and the ball was right there. Yep. And he made a tremendous catch and got down the sideline. We were able to put that one in at 35-7. It was just a matter of running out the clock.
I was really happy for Don Marzano throughout that football game because the way he blocked and the way he fought for his teammates and was very unselfish. And he finally gets the limelight with that touchdown reception. Kind of talk about your emotions after he caught that to reward a guy that has fought hard for his teammates all year.
Don was the heart and soul of our defense. Leading tackler, defensive player of the year, voted on by his teammates here on Monday, this past Monday. And, he's a typical part of that senior class. Coach, whatever I have to do. And generally, Dom, down near the goal line, people know we're going to run the ball. We started throwing some action passes in there, and our guys started nicknaming him Touchdown Dom. And, which was a lot of fun, even in practice and things such as that. Just neat to see, all his hard work and effort and being just a great, great captain, capped off with the touchdown in the state title game.
Scored 35 points in the state title game. This offense has been electric, especially in the state semi and the state finals, but you wouldn't be at the point where we're at without the defense. The defense coming in averaging just 11 points per game given up. You talk about Don Marzano. You're missing a key piece in Ryan Schneider as one of the outside linebackers. But, this group defensively, from returning just a couple starters from last year, the growth that they had throughout the season was unbelievable.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more, Richie. You win championships with defense. And, you got to have great special team play, which I thought we did Friday. Yeah. And offensively, you just got to make sure that you don't hurt the defense. Yeah. And again, we did that. But Wally Hurley, his staff, our guys defensively bought in, and they got better every day. It was a culmination of, since July 5th when we started, now December 2nd, just a culmination of just getting better every day.
I know you've been all over the place with the media, talking to almost every media outlet in Youngstown. I saw one clip, and this really stuck with me. The next day, the sun rises. Your kids got to move on. Talk about that statement and what you want your kids to learn about life in that statement.
The sun's going to come up.
Yeah.
Whether today has been a great day for you, or it's not been the type of day you wanted to have, the sun's going to come up. Saturday morning, the sun came up, and we all got up. We had to do some things that maybe you didn't want to do. Hey, we had our banquet Sunday at noon. So sun came up Saturday morning, 8 o'clock. I'm getting my stuff in the stadium, and we're preparing for a banquet to make sure we send these guys off in the proper manner. When you have bad days, just understand the sun's going to come up, and tomorrow is going to be better if you make it better. And what they did by winning the state championship is what they did. That's what they did. It's not who they are.
Yep.
We have great kids. You got to understand. You'll be more remembered in Canfield, by the type of person you are, not what you did.
Recap that banquet for us for those that weren't there. I mean, that had to be a fun one, winning the state championship.
A lot of smiles, a lot of laughter, and some tears, no doubt. And that banquet, our gridiron club, Don Conco, and the banquet committee did a tremendous job. We were at Mr. Anthony's, which was a neat venue. The fact that Anthony Sadie played quarterback for us in the 2000 year.
Wow.
And just to see him and how happy he was. Just a great afternoon of football. Remembering football and honoring our guys, the cheerleaders, the managers, and certainly honoring the senior class. The senior class put some numbers up that have never been here before. In 34 wins in 3 years, that's a record. 6-0 in the playoffs, that's a record. Okay, having 28 seniors, a record, and obviously winning the first state title. That's a combination of everybody's dream and hard work and effort to a common goal.
Like we do every week, we always talk. What are our 3 keys of the game brought to you by Mike Pavlansky? We always talk about it on the broadcast, on our pregame show. Coco's Pizza is the sponsor. What are the 3 keys for the offseason for Coach Pavlansky's squad?
Well, the 3 keys to the offseason are certainly continue to enjoy this for our sophomores and our juniors coming back. The seniors have been sent off on it, obviously. The best that you can have. For our sophomores and juniors, there's still going to be celebrations. We're going to take our 30 days off. We're going to start January 4th with our winter program. So when you come to the winter program on January 4th, for those 2 hours that you're with us, it's all got to be about football and getting better for next year, getting bigger and faster and stronger. All right, and then taking a couple of days a week and looking at tape. The coaches are right now are working on cutups. As you said, the sun's going to come the next day. You got to move on. And so we're working on our cutups, position cutups that we're going to ship out to our kids via the internet and our huddle system. And they got to spend time doing that. I think our seniors did a great job of film study through the off season last year. We got to continue that. In February, our speed training program starts. We've got to continue to get faster. And finally, don't put limitations on yourself. Other people are going to say this and that about Canfield football. They always have, always will. Don't listen to the outside people. Okay? In the locker room with your buddies. Okay? Put your nose to the grindstone. Get better every day, because we're going to get as our work deserves.
Coach, we're so happy for you winning the state championship. Your first ever one. We couldn't be more proud of what you've done for this community, your football team, and everybody surrounding the program. And of course, we appreciate your time coming out. Coco's Pizza, our last one of the season. This has been a fun ride.
It's been a fast ride. It really has. But Richie, once again, Steve Coker here having us out here. Really appreciate all his support. Not only Canfield football, but everything Canfield. And certainly appreciate YSN bringing positive light to Canfield football and our seniors. And boy, I'm looking forward to next year.
Yep.
We'll see how good we can be.
All right, we look forward to talking to you soon. Once again, congrats, Coach.
Thanks.
Thanks to Coco's Pizza as well. This is our final Coaches Corner State Champions Edition. First time ever in program history, the Cardinals are the champions in Division III. We'll talk to you next season here from Coco's.